coming. This is BBC Tees. Joseph Alan Spence. Bit of a souly, really, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you talk about folk, but it's souly, really, isn't it?
Well, I suppose even it's all soul music, isn't it? Whether it's folk music or jazz or blues or whatever, yeah. But luckily, a couple of years ago, I went on like a musical heritage tour for my birthday, and we went to the Stax Museum, and it was the day after Isaac Hayes had died, and while we were there was only 15 people in the museum. But I saw the introductory film, and Steve Cropper, the guitarist, said once Martin Luther King was assassinated, the world had changed because black performers wanted to be more political. Nobody would accept the natural melting pot and stuff. And while I was in America, the Animals, or John Steele and friends, were touring my local theatre in North London, and they had Steve Cropper booked as a guest. And I thought, nah, he's not going to. So while I was in America, I thought, I can't miss out on this. So I rang the theatre from America and said, can I have a ticket? Even while I'm sat in on the night, the Animals did the first half, and thinking, he's not going to turn up, and And then
all of a sudden,
he just walked on after the interval and was absolutely talking about Otis Redding and songs that they wrote together, and absolutely fantastic. So he said, I know Pete's been trying to invite me for so many years, and I put him off. He said, but I'm so glad I came.
And you're so glad you ran from America and got the tickets.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your career and where you've got to has basically taken you right around the country. And I'm still fascinated by the fact that Redcar Technical College tried to get the best out of you academically, decided, no, it ain't going to work. And now here you are, going through Middlesex Polytechnic, London University, teaching. You're a head of department. You're now a playwright. Would that be the way to do it? Yeah. What do you think when you look back at how you were treated at Redcar Technical College?
Well,
that must have been a bit of a low ebb. I mean, it's almost like showing them now.
Well, I think it's two things. One is, it was at a time when there was institutional failure, wasn't it? Sort of on a grand scale, because if you didn't pass the 11 plus, then you were considered a failure. Now, of course, we have the ethos that children only have one chance and every child matters. But back in those days, rightly or wrongly, that was it. And my hairdresser, Bernadette...
Yes, he still has some hair.
Yeah, sorry about the light. Bernadette says that she was in the B stream at school, and all the A stream people ended up in the banks and the town halls and this, that, and the other. Very predictable, and all the B stream people went off and did things, set up their own businesses, and so perhaps I would see myself in as a B streamer who's been able to follow his interests and dreams, and just been very lucky.
Tell us about Boro's 37 Minutes, because this is going to come very soon.
Yeah.
Next month, we said, but here we are on the 24th of November.
Yeah.
And again, this is history now. This whole story of what happened in 1986 is history. Who came along and said, Alan, you're going to write about this?
Well,
what did you just think yourself?
Well, Bertram Wood Woolley, the world famous Bert Woolley, we did a play called Zigzagger in the 60s, which was a story set around Stoke City, written by Peter Turson. We then transposed that to Middlesbrough, and Vincent, I think, who was the key sort of heroic figure at the time. And I thought, because of what Middlesbrough had gone through more recently, I thought it would be nice to sort of just transpose that story in that format. One of the joys of that production of Zigzagger was the fact that they had 120 performers. The terraces were on the stage, and the scenes, the action, were played in front of it. Trying to get that kind, trying to have those operatic proportions in a play now, when you have Alan Apron saying you only need 5 or 6 characters, it's just not possible. So we've recorded some songs with the Town Hall Community Choir. So in essence, the terraces are there in the play. The play really is just one person's package tour of 1985 to 1995, and then 2003 to the present day. Obviously, the first draft of it, when it went out last year in July, ended on a very strange note. I don't want to give too much away because there is a narrative of which the football is a backdrop, really. And it's about Lisa Brodie, who is a nursing sister who has to bring up a family. And so I don't want to say too much. But there's 50 characters. There's I'm trying to think what's the blurb. 41 scenes. There's.
I mean, it's a mammoth production when you get going. But
oh yeah,
you've been asking people. Like you said, you've got a couple of full-time actors in it, if you want,
yeah.
And just people who fancy having a go. You had the open auditions. When people turned up for the open auditions, were you, wow, actually, she's pretty good. He's great.
Oh yeah.
Wow, this is brilliant.
We've got a couple of young actors over from Eaglescliff, and they're having to get the train every night, and this, that, and the other, so that kind of dedication. But I think they saw something in the production, something a bit different, and they could use it on their, not necessarily on their CV, but as part of their journey before they go to drama college and that kind of thing.
As it says in Act 1, covering 1985 to 1995, with the supporters fearing the worst when the club gates are locked. And then Act 2, the Riverside, Carling Cup, even Europe, Middlesbrough in the noughties. And scenes like Scene 10, a Madison night out. On the Stray on Scene 12 as well. This is going to be a part of the history of the town. I mean, you do realise that. You might just think
that would be brilliant if it was.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, this is something that's documented now.
Yeah,
it's down, and it's going to be shown, so it will become part of the town's history.
Yeah.
Does that please you, being a smoggy who's gone down south, done what you've done down south, now come back up and given a bit back to the town?
I think one of the most brilliant things for me as a writer and a developing writer is that after the first run, and really it was Rob Nichols who saved the play, because
Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah. I'd invited him along. I'd never met Rob before. He was away all week in France. Came to the matinee on the Saturday. Thank goodness we had a matinee. He loved it, got onto the website, said, "You've got to come down and see this play." Other guys said, "Yeah, it was probably me that was crying. I loved the emotion of it all." And I think, it is just one person's story, but what it seems to have sort of generated in people who've seen it is that it's got them thinking. It's got, they've got their own version in their heads and whatever, and that will get them talking, and nobody said, "Oh, what happened to when we went to Wembley or whatever?" It's sort of covered. I mean, and the fact that obviously now that Tony's back, and I've had to add about 5 scenes,
it sort of like closes the circle.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, it certainly does. And in that sense, it's a better play for that because it was ending on a bit of a downer without giving.
You've got Alistair Brownlee in it, apparently.
Well, yes,
he gets everywhere, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's like yourself. He's been a big supporter, so we do appreciate that.
He is the voice of Middlesbrough Football Club. That's why he works for the BBC. Right, when's it going to be on?
It's on Monday the 5th of December to Saturday the 10th of December at the main hall in the Britain Building, Teesside University.
And you would urge everybody to go down, have a look at it, get caught up in the emotion, if you would like to wallow in the nostalgia of that time, and just find out a couple of things you maybe didn't know about what happened back then. Yeah,
and I've leave with a smile on your face. Somebody sent me a text saying, is the play suitable for children? And I said, well, how old? He's 11 years old and he's been a season ticket holder for 5 years. So I said, well, on the basis of that, it could be a very enjoyable, entertaining history lesson.
Well, there you go. That's all you need, isn't it? Yeah. Good luck with this.
That's brilliant.
The Boro's 37 minutes. We'll do more on this, no doubt, on the radio station as we get closer to that date in December. It's been a delight to meet you.
And you, John.
You've been sending me emails about like the After Two guests and things like that, and how you enjoyed them. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself being in the seat there.
Yes.
It's been fascinating finding out a little bit more about you and about your history. Checkered and colourful though it is, it's been good to do that. So thank you very much for coming in today.
Brilliant, John. Thanks a lot for your time.
Alan Spence, local playwright, author if you want. Like you say, master's degree now. Started off from South Bank, and go and see the Boro's 37 minutes. We'll give you more details on that nearer the time.